African leaders are no longer staying silent about global inequalities. In this video, we're showcasing moments when African leaders called out Western leaders directly, challenging their actions and demanding fairness on the world stage. Get ready for some hard truths and bold statements that refuse to be ignored. Let's dive in. Paul Kagame. In this speech, Paul Kagame emphasizes the need for African leaders to take responsibility for addressing their continent's issues without relying on external powers, particularly European nations, to mediate or lead discussions. He criticizes the practice of waiting for invitations from foreign countries like France to tackle African problems, suggesting that it portrays Africa as incapable of solving its own challenges. Kagame expresses frustration over situations where African leaders fail to come together on their own to address crises, such as Boko Haram and South Sudan. He argues that leaders should engage each other directly and speak the truth about these issues. He also points out that in conflicts like South Sudan's, leaders should have addressed the root causes before they escalated into further internal violence. In summary, Kagame calls for African unity, accountability, and proactive leadership in solving the continent's issues, without external influence. He stresses the importance of cooperation and responsibility to prevent unnecessary suffering, particularly among innocent civilians.
When it comes to Africa, I'm sure many people in this audience will have made the same observations. I think we must take responsibility and accept our failures in dealing with these matters. For example, relating to what President Obasanjo has just said on the case of Boko Haram, or you can use that for many other cases. For me, when I'm watching on television and I find our leaders who should have been working together all along to address these problems that commonly affect their countries, wait until they are invited to go to Europe to sit there and just, it's like they are made to sit down and address their problems. Why does anybody wait for that? What image does it even give about us, about Africa? In fact, the image it gives is that we are not there to even address these problems. We are there for a photo opportunity. We are happy to sit there in Paris with the president of France and address and just talk about our history. It doesn't make sense that our leaders cannot get themselves together to address problems affecting our people. It doesn't make sense. Of course, I'm saying this painfully on the other hand that but I look forward for the time when I can be like the former presidents. I think they are more free to say things than I am. Being where they are and me being where I am. So I tend to remain with some reservations about what I have to say because, but I think there is that serious problem. African leaders, we don't need to be invited anywhere to go and address our problems without first inviting ourselves to come together to tell each other the actual truth that we must tell each other about our serious problems. So, I mean, again, look at the problem of South Sudan, indeed. The first problem was about this country and the people there wanting to be independent. They got independence. Now that's turned into a problem. How? So you have one war being fought, waged to be independent, then you have to fight another when you have achieved independence. Just fighting among themselves. Why? So some of these underlying root causes should and could have been addressed by the leaders there. Whatever happened, whoever was wrong, that's not the issue. It is still the responsibility of leaders. If they can't resolve the matters themselves, why not? Why not call upon neighbors to say, come and help? We have a problem here. Maybe there's a problem between the president and the vice president. And if they can't resolve it, and each one thinks he's the one who is right and the other is wrong, and they are going to divide the army and the government and everybody else to go on either side and start fighting. Well, I think in between the time that starts and when it actually happens, something can be done.
Ibrahim Traore. In this speech, Ibrahim Traore criticizes African leaders who continue to act as slaves of the West by betraying their countries and serving foreign powers instead of their people. He argues that since Africa's independence in the 1960s, some local leaders have remained under the control of Western nations, enriching themselves at the expense of their countries while allowing foreign exploitation of Africa's resources. Traore speaks passionately about how imperialists see Africa as a land of slaves and view Africans as their property. He highlights the exploitation of African resources, such as uranium in Niger, which powers European cities while Africa remains in poverty and darkness. He condemns African elites who serve foreign interests and rejects their attempts to control Burkina Faso and its allies, including Mali and Niger. He asserts that the people of the Sahel are awake, resisting manipulation, and are fighting for genuine independence, freedom, and future generations. Traore vows to continue the fight against imperialism and for African sovereignty, calling for unity in defending Africa's resources and future.
Do you know who these slaves of Salon are? These are individuals who have no dignity, who have no morals, who have no personality. But the slave master has always known how to identify these individuals. They are always ready to betray their brother to satisfy the master. They have betrayed us since independence, and others continue to betray us to the benefit of their master. These individuals continue against all odds to plunder Africa, to help the master plunder Africa. Comrades of the various governments of the AES, dear participants of the first summit of the heads of state of the IAS, good morning. It is a great pleasure and an honor to be here today. A blessed date, a memorable date, the CIG 2024 here in Niamey. First of all, let us give thanks to God who allowed this day to be. We thank Him for everything He has done for us until today and everything He will do for the people of the AES. Let me also pay tribute to the Nigerian people, this people who have suffered so much since the advent of the CIG and who continue to stand up. Thank you to the Nigerians who gave us a warm welcome yesterday when we swept the soil of our homeland here. You are more than friends. You are more than neighbors. You are our brothers. You are our sisters, because brotherhood goes beyond friendship or neighborhood. We have the same blood that flows in our veins. In our veins flows the blood of these valiant warriors who fought and reserved this land that we call Mali, Burkina, and Niger. In our veins flows the blood of these valiant warriors who helped the whole world get rid of Nazism and many other plagues. In our veins flows the blood of these valiant warriors who were deported from Africa to Europe, America, Asia, or elsewhere, and who helped build these states during slavery. In our veins flows the blood of worthy men, robust men, standing men. And for this, let us be proud and be grateful for being descendants of the AES, Africa, this continent that has suffered so much and continues to suffer because of imperialists. These imperialists have only one cliche in mind. Africa is the empire of slaves. This is how they see Africa. For them, Africans belong to them. Our lands belong to them. Our subsoils belong to them. They have never been able to change the logic until today. This is deplorable. But how do they proceed? Unfortunately, it is since the 1960s when these 6 miracles of independence were given to Africa. They just placed local valets at the head, according to them, of their sub-prefecture to be able to continue to feed them. These local valets that we are going to call slaves of Salon have no other purpose than to seek to live like the master, to satisfy the master, and to do everything that the master dictates to them. They steal, they plunder our states, they bring everything to the master, and their wealth is kept with the master. They do everything to live like the master and always satisfy him. When the master commands, they execute. Do you know who these slaves of Salon are? Well, we are going to explain to you what they are. These are individuals who have no dignity, who have no morals, who have no personality. But the slave master has always known how to identify these individuals. They are always ready to betray their brother to satisfy the master. They have betrayed us since independence, and others continue to betray us to the benefit of their master. These individuals continue, against all odds, to plunder Africa, to help the master plunder Africa. They like to say it every year in their economic poll that Burkina is the poorest country, that Mali is the poorest country, that Niger is the poorest country. We are ranked among the last. Very well if we are as poor as they say, but when the time has come to take responsibility, we have asked this master to leave the place. Why don't they want to leave? When we take the case of Niger, for more than 40 years, some countries have been exploiting uranium to produce energy at home. From Ottawa to Paris, the streets are illuminated. It is the light. But in Niger, it is the darkness that has served us. When you leave our states, our soils are full of precious metals, such as gold. But often there is not even the slightest access road to reach the areas where they exploit gold, even less certain basic social services. This is why we have decided to revolt and to take the fate of our countries into our own hands. There are many other examples, but when we decided this way, well, we were approached by some saloon slaves to pass on the message of their master, because they had created this kind of polymer chain that rises to the heads of our states to serve them. And we came to break the chain, and it is inconceivable for them. They approached us and asked us to enter the ranks to be part of the elite that must lead Africa, because they have an elite formed and trained that must follow, that are embedded in this chain. We refused to enter their ranks, and from then on, the hostilities began. They made several mercenaries, deformers, agents, to come down to the Sahel to lead barbaric, cowardly attacks against our people, hoping to revolt them. In addition to these attacks on the ground, the communication attacks, the manipulation, the disinformation are full in their ranks. But the people of the Sahel have understood that we will never be able to manipulate them again. They know where they come from, they know what they do, and they know where they are going. We will no longer allow this. People are awake, and people are fighting today. Not for ourselves, but for future generations. And thank you all for the fight that has been fought. This never makes us cry. We will not tremble. We will face. We will fight for real independence, for our freedom. Because to frighten the people of the Sahel, these individuals have only 3 words in their mouths: democracy, freedom, human rights. Of course, their local values are only elected in a democratic, free, and transparent process according to their values. What is more normal than to impose this on us? Because they are the ones who write the rules. Very well. We have decided to take responsibility. This is why, on June 26, 2023, when Niger decided to turn the page, the slaves of Salon and their masters got on their horses. They put their local values forward and decided to wage a war against the Nigerian people. We therefore said anyone who dares to take up arms in Nigeria will face us, because we will wage a war without mercy to the last drop of blood for anyone who dares to attack our states. This word, this decision we made yesterday, is current today and will be current tomorrow and forever.
Let us know in the comment section what you think of the video. That wraps up the video for today, guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to Insight TV, leave a thumbs up, and of course share the video. Until the next time, see you in the next video.